Let's start it off by hearing stories. I want to hear a story of something that happened over the last couple days. I've seen some fish pictures. Who wants to go first? Who wants to tell me some fishing story, hunting story, anything? Bo.
Throwing a buzz bait, and I got a blow up, but it barely sucked it under. So when I set the hook, I wasn't expecting nothing big, but once I started getting closer to the bank, I got it in.
Was that picture you sent? Did y'all see the picture of Bo's fish? He caught a really, really big one. Caught it on a buzz bait. That's a great bait for this time of year. Here's some fishing line, Bo, for telling us your story. All right, so we got some other stuff in this bag. One thing we're going to give away, not today, but next week, we're going to give a reel away. We got Coach Salt here has put casting deals out here. Like we're going to have some casting competitions going forward in each practice because that's like the #1 thing for you guys to get better for. So no, next week, we'll have a little competition like every week. We're going to give a reel away. We'll give some stuff away as we keep going forward. I got some more stuff in that bag. What me and Coach Salt hope to do, and Boat Captain Vernon's going to help us today, and who else we got here, but we want to just like break it down on like 4 or 5 rods you need to have, and then you start going through like the different rods. You can play with mine today, play with his, go to the stores and use them, but we just hope to give you some knowledge of what to look for. I've got everything in this pile here from like a $29 rod to a $400 rod. So like there's all avenues of ways you can go. But what I hope to achieve today is to tell you the difference between a $29 rod and a $400 rod, and then you guys make the decision on what you feel like is best on the hard-earned money that you've made or your parents have made on what you're going to spend, would you say? Let's just talk about rod actions. Like I've got 5 rods that I feel like are must-have rods, and I want to talk to you about the guides. I think guides are one thing that you can either spend a lot of money on or a little bit of money on. The reel handles, the finish on a rod, but basically, like when you go to buy a $30 rod, and granted it is a bad example, but the more expensive a rod is, the more guides it will have on it. Somebody tell me, why do you think it needs to have more guides on it? Has anybody got an idea? Raise your hand. What?
More stable.
More stable? That's a good answer. That's a good answer for answering. There's some hooks. Somebody else got a reason for more guides? Why would you need to have more guides on your rod? Better accuracy? We're getting closer. There's some hooks, bud. One more try.
So your line won't break.
You, bing, bing, bing. You are right, buddy. There's some braid. That's some awesome braid right there from K9. All right, so the more guides you have on a rod, the less chance when you're bending that rod all different directions, that line is not touching the rod, okay? Like when you're all bowed up on a fish and like when it touches it, like if you take this other rod I got here, now granted that's a spinning rod, but if you were to bend it backwards, that line's going to touch right there, that line's going to touch right there, that line's going to touch right there. That's going to heat that line when that fish starts to strip drag. Does that make sense? So one thing you want to look for is the more guides on a rod, the better they are. So like the #1 thing is the more guides on your rod makes a rod better. The guides make the rod better. The reel seat makes the rod better. So really the only difference when you go from a $100 rod to a $400 rod is the weight. Let's take this off just so everything's apples to apples. Let me hold your other rod over here. Is there a difference in weight? What's lighter? Much lighter. So when you guys see those big, big price tags out there on those rods, you're just buying something that's a little lighter. In my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, you guys may have you're going to form your own opinion. That's the whole goal I want you guys to do. I don't feel like you have to spend $400 on a rod to be successful. Man, that $400 rod is not going to get me any more bites at the end of the day than a $100 rod or a $40 rod. So you got to make a decision here. Well, do you want something that's got a little bit better guides, more guides, a little bit lighter? That's what I want you to think about. I've made my career. For 15 years, I used a rod that was 89 bucks. Here recently, in the last 5 or 6 years, I've gone to a rod that's 119 bucks, or that red one's like 159 or 179 before COVID, whatever it is. So when you guys are going and looking at rods, just don't think that you got to spend 400 bucks to be successful, because that $400 rod is not going to catch you any more fish in that tournament in March over at Grand than a $50 rod, a $70 rod. It's more about where you put your bait. It's more about your accuracy, and that's something that we're going to work on a bunch out here, is casting accuracy. Okay, when you hear somebody talk about flipping, it's old school. You grab your line right here between this first guide and the reel, you pull it out, you swing it up, and you go like that. I'm going to flip when I'm that far from my targets, okay? Because I can put it right where I want to put it anytime, okay? If I want to put it right there, that is called flipping. We use flipping with heavy line, a jig, a tube, a creature bait, dirty water, tight fishing, like really close to the bank, very precise, and you can cover water quickly. I'm letting it go to the bottom, I'm picking it up once, I'm making another pitch on the other side of the stump, I'm gonna make a pinch on the next stump right there, I'm covering water. That's flipping, okay? Everybody got it? Pitching. We add a little distance to it. Now that's pitching, okay? And all it is right here is you've got the same amount of line to the reel out. You don't want your line down here, and you don't want it up here, okay? Pitching. You just raise the rod up, the bait stays about that far off the water the whole time. It's accurate, it makes a very quiet entry, and I'm a little bit further away from those fish than I am in flipping. Does that make sense? So now I'm in a more of a cleaner water situation, maybe more of a pressured fish situation, but it's going to take me more time because now I got to reel that all the way in to make that next presentation right there. The next cast I want you to work on is a roll cast, just something underhand. I'm taking it a little bit further, and again, I'm keeping it that far off the water, guys. Stealth is going to be a big deal in your fishing as you grow up. Man, as many boats are on the water. Some of these tournaments you're going to be fishing next year are going to have 300-400 boats. You're going to be fishing behind people. So by you being a better caster and being more stealthy, you're going to get to go to that national championship. We're all going to qualify. So think about those things as you're out there. But the roll cast is something that I want you to work on. It's just an underhand swing of the rod, keeps the bait really close to the water, and it's accurate. And then after that, obviously, just an overhand cast to where you can throw something, pretty far. Start working on that. And nobody hook anybody in here. Let's all be super careful. But I want you to work on those 4 casts. And next week, we're going to have a competition. Somebody's going to win that reel. And come back with questions next week because I'll have some more stuff to give away.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives. You create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot. You got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5. No mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way. What I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.